Hey guys, Fazzy back here, and in today's video, I want to start a new series. That is going back to past NHL games since NHL 15 and taking a look at some of the biggest features added and seeing what works and what did not. Today's episode is going to be featured around owner mode. Very controversial, to say the least, and a lot of people don't like owner mode for a variety of reasons. So we're going to go through every aspect of owner mode and see what worked back in the day, what can be improved upon, and what just needs to be scrapped. So let's start out here. Owner goals and relocation. We're going to be going through this like just piece by piece. So owner goals. I think this is a good place to start. So each and every single season, you would get 3 to 4 different goals from your owner. It would either be primary, secondary, or stretch goals. And depending on what classification each goal was, it would come with different levels of importance to your owner. It makes sense. Owner goals as a whole, I just feel like it was a little bit shallow. And some of the stuff like, I expect us to sell 75% of the available suites, it's not always in control of the player. Obviously, if your team is having success, there's a better chance that you're going to get that. And then obviously keeping your fans happy when it comes to the arena, when it comes to the prices, stuff we will get into here later. Some of the stuff isn't always controllable by the player. And some of this stuff ends up just becoming very tedious, which I think is going to be a very common trend of today's video. And honestly, it just adds another level of stuff you have to be watching out for. Franchise mode is full of different activities that you have to pay attention to. So goals, in theory, not a bad addition, nothing crazy, nothing good, nothing bad, but it just adds another thing that you have to pay attention to. Moving on from owner goals, we have probably the best feature added to NHL 17. That is relocation in franchise mode itself. This was something that you could not do if you did not play with owner mode on. Something that I think was not a great idea. I think you should be able to do this whether you have owner mode on or off. Doesn't mean you have to use it, and especially depending on whatever market you're playing in. But just to be able to have the option there is something that I think should be available to players regardless of having owner mode on or off. And having all the different, options of places you want to be able to expand. Looking for Utah or the Salt Lake City team here. I think that's pretty fitting here for us using the Arizona Coyotes. And this was a great feature. Being able to negotiate with the city for different demands, stuff like that is cool, and I think it actually is well done. I don't have anything here I would change, and this is probably one of the strong parts of owner mode. Let's just make that city stadium funding up there like crazy, because why not? We'll give you some more ticket revenue, and they ended up breaking off the talks. It is what it is, but still, this was actually probably the best part of owner mode in my opinion. I don't even think it's really all that close. And the issue is, when you put together a huge package of features with owner mode, cool stuff like this has to be played with some of the features that players don't like, which we will be getting into here. Let's go and talk about some of the budgets. I think that's probably a good part to go to next. So you have your marketing budget. Again, no real issues with how the marketing budget is laid out. It's another one of those things, depending on your style of play for franchise mode, this can be pretty tedious. I don't think a lot of players would end up touching that, but that's just me. Also going on to the operations budget, and this to me was definitely a bit of a negative because of a few factors, and that mainly being in regards to arena operations. This all kind of ties together here. It all kind of starts with a budget, because the budget allows you to have the money to fulfill all these different operations. And at least in NHL 17, 18, whenever I was using this, somewhat regularly, there was never enough money to go around for a full season. I think that's something that players found happening pretty often. And again, owner mode isn't used nearly as much as it was back in the day. So maybe they've made some changes to it in recent games, but I very much doubt it. Nothing's been touched with owner mode over the past few years. And using those budgets, you can go and upgrade different areas of your stadium. Obviously, the bathrooms are always an absolute mess here to start off franchise mode. It's kind of like your tutorial. So we have to pay $250,000 to fix those. And everything is all right now, everything's at 97 plus when it comes to stadium operations, which is pretty good, but everything does wear down rather quick and you never have enough money to get through the full season. So let's go simulate up ahead. I'll get to like January or something, and then we'll take a look at what maintenance is needed. All right, so we're back here with our Arizona Coyotes. It's January 1st, 2017. Let's go see where our stadium is at. Let's go see what needs to be fixed up, although we're not even halfway through the season. So you see the team store is down to 43. It's another 150 grand to fix it, another 500 more or less to upgrade it. And like we have 3.6 million. And again, this is the top end budget you can set for if you had proper amounts in advertising, in promotions, stuff that again costs a lot as well. That number is going to go down pretty drastically, and like it's already stretched quite a bit when you go and start upgrading and you start repairing everything here. That money goes very, very quick. So let's go through and do all that. Let's go and upgrade our concessions. That's like 500,000, 470, almost another 500,000, 600,000. All this money is just absolutely gone. And again, we're halfway through the season. Some of this stuff, I guess, doesn't technically need to be repaired, but at halfway through the season, this stuff shouldn't need to be repaired to begin with. It's cool and all, but it adds a level of immersion that I don't think is really needed for franchise mode, Like maybe in the off season, you have to do some work to the stadium. That makes sense, but having to be going through this all the way through the season, every single season, it just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I don't know. I guess it depends, again, what kind of franchise mode player are you? How in-depth do you want to go with this stuff? It's cool if you really want to get into everything, but this part of owner mode definitely, to me, is a miss. And it always kind of felt like it was. It was cool when it was added in, but just felt like it wasn't done right, and it was never changed from this format. Moving on, we have the ability to assign promotions. And honestly, again, have to give props when it's due, and this is something that is kind of cool. Something that I know a lot of people, again, not everyone's going to do this. Not everyone's going to go through the calendar and pick days. But to actually be able to have the ability to do something like this is pretty cool. Again, the money and all that stuff in the budgets, it's another one of those things. It all kind of comes back to the same issue where there's not enough money for everything and you really have to pick and choose, which again makes sense in some situations. But to be able to have this in franchise mode is, at least somewhat cool. It's one of the more positive elements of owner mode. That and relocation are the strong points that we've looked at least in my opinion. And then the last big part of owner mode is the ability to set prices. Again, this is something very controversial. And something, going back to NHL 17 when it was announced, I was like, yo, this is awesome. This is super cool. But is it needed? Is it needed in a video game when really we're just trying to sim games or trying to make cool trades, sign big free agents, and bring our team to a contender? And it goes back to, again, I've been saying it all the way through the video, how in depth do you want to go? Is the average player who's just picking up franchise mode after they get off work or school wanting to go through and set the jersey prices for Pavel Datsyuk kid jerseys? Like, I don't think people care. And if this money actually really ended up mattering, like, I don't know if this even really contributes to your budget. I think your sales are more or less just, fake money that kind of goes nowhere. So at the end of the day, it doesn't even really matter. So you're better off just kind of more or less setting all your prices low, keeping your fans happy. And maybe it does have an effect on your budget, but at least keep it to the lower end so it doesn't really matter all that much. And everyone's happy, your fans are full. It just feels like something that's, there for the sake of being there. And like for me, the issue is you have this feature off. Sure, that's fine. But when owner mode is off, you lose the ability to have other cool features that are tied in with this. Being able to relocate your team. Being able to set promotions. Again, that's pretty small, but it is cool. The issue is it's all tied in under one package. So when you have something that you really don't care about and you really don't just want to turn it off, it also, limits other fun what you can have with the mode with stuff that they actually did well on. So I think, some of this stuff probably should get broken up when it comes to at least the overall settings. So yeah, when it comes to owner mode, this was definitely a miss for me for sure. Moving over to NHL 26, it's absolutely insane. We're almost at a decade of having owner mode in game. Introduced in NHL 17, it's obviously now NHL 26. That's almost 10 years. It's crazy. And the sad part is none of this stuff has changed whatsoever. You still set the prices for the exact same thing and the same problems are still here. Obviously, the only thing that changes is the players that you have on your team, but that changed back then too. Like, the budgets are all the same. If anything, it's gotten worse having the scout and coaches budgets, which really make it hard with franchise mode, which we will get into here shortly. The issue is all this feedback, everything here that was bad with owner mode when it was introduced, none of it got changed, none of it got improved upon. The bathrooms still suck at launch. Like, there is a lot of potential with owner mode. There is, you know, a real potential here to have a very immersive experience. The issue is it never got adjusted upon. That really does suck. And like I said, when it comes to coaches and it comes to the salaries now that you're limited to do with coaches, if you have owner mode on, you cannot go over the coaching budget whatsoever. And the issue is head coaches sometimes ask for like 5 or 6 million. You have to fill 8 positions of your coaching staff and you only have 7.5. How is that going to work when like the lowest coach salary out there is like 800,000? The math just doesn't work. Like, something here is not working. Either give us more salary for coaches and scouts or just have them ask for less. Like, something here just isn't working out. And that right there makes it almost impossible to play with owner mode on right there. Because you have to have a good coach in franchise mode. And to have that good coach, you have to have the budget to do so. So just a total issue that has just gotten worse over time, unfortunately. Overall, just looking back at owner mode over the past almost 10 years, it just makes me sad because there is such potential here. There is such potential for such an immersive experience. The issue is it's just not totally done right, which is a shame because it's close, but it doesn't all flow together as it should, if that makes any sense whatsoever. And that's fine, like year one, if it's not a perfect experience. But the issue is it's been 9 years and it hasn't been touched at all. Like, I don't want to see it, like the whole thing get scrapped down the line because there is good to it. The relocation in mode is amazing. The issue is you never see it because no one plays with it because there's so many other negatives around it, you know. So hopefully it's something that down the road, maybe one day, we'll get some updates when franchise mode gets its turn next, whenever that may be. Definitely holding my breath on that after 9 years, but, you know, crazier things have happened. So I think that's going to do it for today's video. Like I said, this is kind of a new series I want to start, going back to really NHL 15, like the disaster game that it was, and taking a look at the big features added since then. Like, another one I have on my list is player morale. Add an NHL 16. Definitely want to go look at that, look at the positives, the negatives. But any other, you know, features added in the last 10 years or so that you want to see covered, definitely let me know in the comments below, and maybe it's something we can take a look at in a future episode. But this is something I'm very curious about, so definitely put it in the comments below. What do you guys think of owner mode as a whole? Like, it's almost a little bit too late for asking feedback on this, but I'm curious. Like, I know it's like obviously so hated among the community and no one ends up using it. What's your reasoning for that? Is it anything that I covered here today or any other reasons of your own? I'm very, very interested to say the least. But overall, I think that is going to do it for today's video. I will see you all in the next one.